What actually is hypnosis?
So hypnosis is very similar to sleeping, but the difference is that it's a trance that we can put you in without you having to necessarily go to sleep. Now, the reason that people get put in hypnosis is pretty much just because it helps you get rid of something called your critical faculty. Have you heard of a critical faculty before? It's like the thing that's in your mind that makes you overthink, that makes you think twice, that makes you procrastinate. All of these things, it's where a lot of the limiting beliefs can often start, because you just keep feeding into it, and your critical faculty is there.
Okay.
But then when you do hypnosis, it puts you almost into this trance, like a sleep state. And it gets rid of that critical faculty altogether. So then that way we can work on the limiting beliefs. We can give you new suggestions, new things that, actually make you feel a lot better about yourself and get you to whatever, goal you want to reach, and feel whatever way you want to feel.
Makes sense. And why would somebody use hypnosis?
Well, there's lots of different reasons you could use hypnosis. The clients that I work with are only business owners. So they're entrepreneurs. They already make really good money. And it's not necessarily that they need to fix themselves. It's more that they just want to do better and they want to have even better performance. So a lot of the clients that I work with, they make say 400, some even make 600K a month. But the challenge is that they all want to make say $1 million a month, for example. Now, a lot of these clients know what they need to do, but they're just not doing it because for a myriad of reasons. A lot of it just comes down to, they future pace their life, and they think that if I am to get to $1 million a month, for example, it's going to be a lot more stressful. I'm going to have to hire more people, which I don't want to hire. And the biggest one is just they think that if they are to get to that goal, life's just going to be shit, basically, and worse than it is now. So that's why a lot of my clients get hypnosis, but there's lots of different hypnotists that help with lots of different things. You can use it to quit smoking. You can use it for general athletic performance, lots of different reasons. But the main reason is just so that you can really rewire your subconscious mind.
Got you. Okay. And the people that you work with for hypnosis, what do they usually come for?
Well, it's a good question. A lot of them come because they know what they need to be doing, but they're just not doing it for one reason or another. A client, for example, that I worked with the other day, he's making about 150 to 250K a month, and he knows he needs to be making a lot more ads. He knows he needs to make more content, but he's just not doing it. Instead, he's spending all this time working on AI automations and stuff like that. And of course, that stuff's helpful, but he also knows that if he is to be doing the things like content creation more, he's going to be making so much more money. So for him, he needs to just really get over that feeling that stops him from making content when he knows he needs to make content. An example is he sets a schedule for himself to make content. I think it's 4 or 5 days of the week in the morning. By the end of the week, he ends up doing one of those sessions. So for us, what we did was I sat him down, I asked him a bunch of different questions, wanted to see what he needed to work on, and then we put him under trance and basically rewired that all for him so that he's now no longer having that same feeling. Because a lot of this is driven by feelings. Obviously, those feelings can sometimes come from thoughts, but if we can start to be able to, one, recognize the feelings better, the feelings that come up when you're anxious or when you feel like you need to do something but you don't want to do it, if we can address that feeling head on and we can become aware, and then after that we can also rewire some of the thoughts and the frameworks around the way that these people think, that's when they can start to, perform a lot better, because they've no longer got that feeling coming up when they're normally doing the thing that stops them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So how long does it usually take for them to see the results of that?
Some people can get it straight away, after your first session. It really depends on the person. Some people are more suggestible to hypnosis. I'm personally very suggestible. Anyone can hypnotize me if they know how to hypnotize people. So it really just depends on the person. But most of my clients, if they come there to learn, they pay the money. Obviously it costs a lot to work with me, but if they pay the money, then we can get some really good results really fast. So it just depends. But normally it can take one session and you can get a really massive change.
Okay, awesome.
Also, I just took the wrong turn.
I know, I just saw that.
It's right. It's all right.
It's all right. So what made you start helping people with hypnosis?
It's a good question. It didn't start with hypnosis. I tried so many different things: meditation, mindset coaches, reading lots of books, and obviously working harder to get these results. Because for me, I was never really, really broken or anything like that. I didn't have terrible problems. It was just that I wanted a lot more out of my life, and I knew that I'd reached a ceiling. For me, it was just a certain number that I just kept hitting over and over again. and I realized that there was so much more I wanted to do, but I couldn't do it for some reason. And after trying so many different things, nothing really worked for me until I actually ended up getting hypnotized. And that was a crazy process because for me, I didn't think, yeah, I didn't think that it would work, and I didn't think that I was getting hypnotized at the time. I genuinely didn't, but looking back, I know I was getting hypnotized because I literally completely transformed my mind. So yeah, the reason why was because I tried so many different things, so many different mindset coaches, so many different modalities, like asking the right questions, all of that stuff. It can be really, really helpful, but I just noticed it takes so much longer, so much more time to ingrain it. Whereas hypnosis, it can be literally an instant transformation. So I realized this was a thing that I really wanted to learn, and yeah, I just started investing, spending time with some of the best mentors and just learning from them. And then yeah, continuing to develop my skills. Like I'm a great hypnotist now, but like I'm always investing. I'm going to a seminar soon in Toronto to go learn from literally one of the best hypnotists in the world. So to answer your question, I got into hypnosis because yeah, it's such powerful work. It can really, really change someone very fast.
What makes a person more susceptible to hypnosis?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know the exact reason. I've thought about this quite a few times. I think it really comes down to your past experiences. Like for me, I've always been someone that when I'm in an environment, like a really positive environment, for example, like I'll give you an example. When I was like maybe 18 years old, I started surrounding myself with all these guys that went to the gym a lot. And when I was spending time with them, I noticed that like I was just so much more into getting fit and looking like them. And I think it really just comes down to how susceptible you are to, number one, trying to improve yourself, but then number two, when you're in an environment, are you actually picking up on that environment? And I think I'm really someone that picks up on whatever environment they're in. And then number two, I'm always trying to grow. So hypnosis is something where if you believe it's going to work and you want it to work, wanting it to work is the more important thing than just believing it, because I could literally hypnotize someone like that doesn't even believe in hypnosis. It's more about, do they want it to work? And if they want it to work, you can get hypnotized. So I think it's really just a matter of, yeah, I don't know the exact reason. I'm sure there's scientific things behind.
Would you say like open-mindedness?
Yeah, open-mindedness for sure is a big one. Definitely.
Makes sense. Like if you've got an open mind, then like you can allow suggestions to come in. But if you're very closed-minded, maybe you don't even like listen and like take part in the hypnosis way that you need to.
Yeah, I agree.
What's your goal with now being a hypnotist? Where do you see, your
In
next
what
goal
regard?
being?
How much I'm making, how many people I help.
Not how much you're making, more just like what's your goal, like the vision.
The vision. It's a good question. Just to keep working with some of the best entrepreneurs in the world. Put it as simple as that. It's really it. Obviously, to keep making even more money. Like I'm always someone that's motivated to make a lot of money. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm just in hypnosis to help people. That's obviously a huge, huge benefit. I love helping people through this work. I mean, I could have made lots of money through so many different areas, but I chose to do it in a way which I could actually impact people. Like, as you know, we already have a second business. I used to do business coaching. So for me, it's just really to develop in this area because I know how much impact it can have on people. And then the second is just to really make as much money as I possibly can out of it. And I feel like I'm never going to stop like wanting to make more as well. Because yeah, I'm a big believer that the more money you make, it's not that, like it gets to a point where like you don't make more money for the sake of just making more money. I mean, some people might, but for me, I wouldn't. Like I would get to a point where all I want to do is just keep growing. Because to make more money, it's like you have to evolve as a person. And I feel like in these last few like months to year or so, I feel like I've had to evolve so much, and it's taken so much more of me to be at this level. Like for instance, like you've probably seen, I've been doing so much more inner work than I ever have before, right? And I think it's just because since we've been in Dubai, to operate at the level that we want to be operating at, you have to become the person that's capable of doing that. I think it's just to keep growing as a person.
That's the vision?
Yeah.
I love that. And what would you say reasons why people tend not to be, for hypnosis, and what would you say to that?
I don't think this is very prevalent, meaning like I don't think this happens a lot. But some people think that hypnosis means that you're going to lose control. Or they imagine a hypnotist to be the person on stage like waving a clock in front of their head and doing like weird things with their hands, you know, like looking like Dracula or something. But hypnosis really isn't that. It's just putting you in this state where you're a lot more susceptible to getting better suggestions and new beliefs that are going to serve you at a much higher level. So I think for anyone that is a bit scared about it, because obviously it does happen occasionally where some people don't want to be hypnotized. Normally once they're like actually sitting down with me and everything, like they're not worried about it because they realize I'm like, you know, a very normal person and they're very safe. But it's more just like some people have this in their head that hypnosis is different to what it is, and that it's like someone's going to do some weird like mind games on you. Whereas I think the belief that's going to support you the most is just realizing that hypnosis is simple as like putting you in a trance, almost like a sleep state, but it's much deeper than a sleep, in the sense that you're actually a lot more suggestible to learning and taking on new suggestions. So I would just say stay open-minded to it, because yeah, genuinely it can change your life so much.
So what would be your biggest piece of advice to your younger self?
Believe in myself more. As cliche as that sounds, and everyone says it, but it is genuinely everything. Because if I realized that I could have just felt and acted as the way I wanted to end up being, I would have gotten here so much faster. Yeah, it's really just all about believing, because there's so many people that were like maybe not as smart as me, not as skilled, not as whatever, but they're so much further ahead because they believed in themselves and they also stuck with it. So I would just really say like stick with something for a longer period of time, and also just believe in yourself more, because genuinely this whole game of business and of life is all just about betting on yourself and just continuing to believe that you can do it. And if you do that for a long enough period of time, it's inevitable that you're going to be successful. So I would just say keep believing in yourself, keep acting as though you're already there, feeling the emotions, visualize more, and yeah, just do it, take action.
I like it. What's something that you've learned that's completely changed the way that you think?
That's a great question. The way that I think and feel on a consistent basis determined all of my past results and my future results. So if I keep feeling a certain state, which is like a feeling, a thought, you know, a state could be an example of like you feel like you're not worthy, or you feel sadness consistently. You know, it's just the feelings that you basically have. If I keep feeling that, my future is going to keep giving me reasons for me to still be sad and still be in that state.
Yeah.
So if you want to get different results, you need to change your state. And this was one I'd heard a few times before, but there's an amazing book that I'm reading, which you referred me, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza. And that is so powerful. Just realizing that your state is everything, because the way that this world works is it's all based off energy. It's a very long-winded like explanation on it. I'll summarize it up in a few words. But basically everything is made up of atoms. Inside of those atoms, the things that, I'm not going to explain this perfectly, but I'll do my best. Inside of those atoms, there's then electrons. And these electrons are basically, it's energy essentially. And an atom is in every single object and every single living thing. Everything is made up of atoms. So if you realize that, you can realize that your energy, the same energy that's, you know, in your future potential or in the future things that you want or the future life is within you right now. So if you just start to realize that energy is the foundation of everything, and you start to shift that energy now into the state that you want to experience in the future, then you'll start to get that. So yeah, that was my biggest lesson. And yeah, I wish I learned it a lot sooner. I probably heard it much sooner, but I wasn't as receptive to it as I am now. But yeah, it's everything. The way you feel, the way you think is everything.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Why do you specifically work with entrepreneurs?
One, I mean, I can help everyone, but I don't like to say that I will, because entrepreneurs, number one, I relate to them a lot more. Like, I have 2 businesses. Number 2, entrepreneurs are just a lot more receptive to actually making a change. Like, I've coached hundreds of people at this point from all different walks of life, but you also have, like, for hypnosis to genuinely work and to change your life, you have to be someone that's willing to take action and someone that's already done work and has a good work ethic. Definitely, I can hypnotize you to like be a better worker, but if you already have that as your foundation, what I'm doing is I'm basically unlocking even more of your potential. So I just love working with entrepreneurs because one, I can relate to them more. Two, they're willing to do the work and they actually get better results. But three, most important, or maybe not most important, but very important, they actually have the money to pay me because I'm obviously not cheap, right, to work with me. So yeah, they're the reasons I only work with entrepreneurs and 7 to 9 figure entrepreneurs. Even, 7+. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to share?
Stay in school, don't take drugs. No, I don't think anything could be any more valuable than just hearing that your thoughts and your feelings will predict your future reality. And that's the beauty of hypnosis as well. It's like, it can genuinely change your state just like that. Like if I put you under trance and I give you some new suggestions and I empower you and I give you this new state, it starts to get new results. And then also what we kind of do is we work out what kind of ego state you're in. Now, what an ego state is basically we always operate out of a different ego state. Some operate out of an ego state of feeling like a victim. Some operate out of an ego state of feeling like a victor, or someone that always wins, or someone that constantly gets jealous. What we need to do is identify what your ego state is and then just empower it with a new ego state so that when you're doing the thing that you need to do to get better results, that comes so much easier. So an example would be like giving you an ego state that allows you to work a lot smarter and a lot more efficiently and not overthink things when you're, say, trying to scale your business, for example. So that's the big one. It's like, try and identify what state you're living out of right now, get hypnosis. If you can't get hypnosis, just focus on fixing your state and your thoughts. And that's about it.